Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game of Fans First Sports Network.
And I am Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And folks, if you're card players, if you're lovers of Bob Saget, whatever it is, recognize we have a full house today. See, nobody knew where I was going with Bob Saget there for a minute. But we have a full house in there today. Maybe I don't know if the first line of defense, I don't know if they're the last line of defense, but they are here to help protect Duval fans, Jacksonville Jaguar fans, the Men In Teal are in the building, Jimbo and Agent J. Guys, and a little bit inside baseball, we've been trying to make this episode happen. Travis, I heard you say a year?
It's been over a year, actually. Yeah.
So, guys, I'll give you a bell just for finally making it in the room. So glad to have you, gentlemen. Agent J, Jimbo, both in the room. And remember, the O is for optimist, even though this team makes Travis drink. That's a whole other question. But let's get into it. Think a little about. We're getting intimate talking about the Jags. Yeah. We're gonna dive in as we do on the Duval Dive, and I feel like I'm required, especially with this crew of card-carrying members of the Duval Devout. And Agent J, let me start with you, man. Travis Hunter. I know that I was already just excited to see it happen. And no, not just because I didn't see the trade coming and I had to do all sorts of stuff on draft night to get that show out the door. But I mean, as a card carrying member about the Travis Hunter trade, what is it? What do you see? How fun is it? Are you, obviously you're excited about it, but is he a piece that helps make possibly this Jacksonville Jaguar offseason the most exciting you've seen, if not in the franchise's history?
I don't know if I would say the most. Because when we knew we were getting Trevor Lawrence, that offseason was, there was a lot coming with that. There was the Urban Meyer thing, everything just leading up to it. Like we got stadium deals done. Like there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff going on. Okay. But for stuff that's that you think on the field, or if you think about excitement embodied, I think Travis Hunter is that. We gave up what we gave up to go get him. So, I think we all know what kind of player we've seen in the past. So the exciting thing I think is, like I said, I don't know if it's the top, but it's definitely top 3 for me of exciting offseason. So it's up there. It's definitely up there.
So, and well, Jimbo, I'll ask you, we're having the conversation. It belongs here. I'm not just being the optimist here, right?
No. So my take is actually different. I think it actually is. Okay. Because I think the closest you can compare it to was the Trevor Lawrence and the Urban Meyer coming in. And listen, this is coming from somebody who had their mind changed. I said in the beginning, well, no, Travis Hunter comes here. What do you mean we never had no superstar? Trevor Lawrence, what are you talking about? He's been talked about since he was in high school. How many high school quarterbacks do you know? We knew who Trevor Lawrence was, and the dude had to explain to me that, no, you don't understand. There's a whole nother world of influence that we're going to get. It's almost like the Taylor Swift effect, right? We just absorbed a whole nother genre of fan bases out here. So I would have to say, yes, Travis, because even the media, the national media that honestly hates us outside of a few talking heads, like they have to talk good about us. They have to, for the most part, they have to because of Travis Hunter.
Jimbo, you know what's crazy?
There. What's that?
That you say you like to give credit for sources. I'm the one that said that to you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't remember that was you. I'm sorry.
About the absorption, because I told you, I said, bro, think about. I said, bro, his draft video. It had almost 1.5 million views in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
I said, bro, you're getting this is, and I'm the one that told you the difference. I said, because Trevor was touted as a generational talent. I don't think anybody ever touted him as a superstar. they're touting Travis Hunter as a superstar. Like, it's on the field, it's off the field, it's marketability, it's giving people like, bro, he's a little ugly dude with a great smile. Like, there's a lot of little ugly dudes with great smiles. Like, it is to me, it's a bigger genre. Everybody can't be 6'5", white, blonde hair, gorgeous. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody can't be that. But there's going to be a lot more Travis Hunters, personality, superstar wise, than you'll probably have Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, that's crazy. You love giving credit.
But I didn't take credit for it. I didn't take credit. I said somebody convinced me. I couldn't remember, but I can't remember.
I was convinced. In Jimbo's defense, I was convinced implied. Somebody convinced me, and now I'm a believer. I sound like the donkey from Shrek now. But and I want to put this on it too. You mentioned it being a different genre, Jimbo. Like, Taylor Swift has Swifties. On this show, we've been talking about Travis Hunters since what? December, November?
Bro, it was definitely December. Yeah. Like, we were talking about the Travis Hunter sweepstakes, when we ended up, beating the Titans in the second time. It was like, oh, we're out of the sweepstakes now. Like, and
Jimbo would tell you, do you understand? Y'all don't understand. I said, so Antonio Johnson, you gonna play like that all season? And you say, you know what? I'm gonna get a game winner. I'm gonna make a stop. Mm-hmm. Are you serious? We could have had another. We could have kept our first round draft pick for next year. But Antonio Johnson wants to be Superman. Come on, this is crazy.
I mean,
I was livid. I said, I know you ain't had a nerve to say, you know what? Hey, last game, season's in the toilet. Hey, let's mess up the draft order.
I knew that was. As soon as you said it, I knew he was going to say that.
I get that this is obviously in the real conversation. It's these guys' job. You can't put this up. You can't have that resume on tape. Like, I get it, but at the same time, as a supporter of the team, as a fan of the team. Man, F that. I was so pissed after that game. I can't even lie to you.
As much bad tape as he put out last year, he could have just slipped and it'd have been like, oh man, that's Antonio. Like, it wouldn't have been like, oh, he made a mistake. Like,
just to get this on tape, or just to get this on air, I will say I think this is probably the most exciting season for the Jaguars honestly in my adult lifetime. Like, I think I am going to agree with Jimbo on that one. I hear you, Jay. I understand exactly where you are. It's just the fact that Trevor Lawrence's offseason is because they were already just coming off of being so bad that I didn't have as much hope. And also, I wasn't so huge. I wasn't so high on Urban Meyer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just thought, like,
that's what I meant. Like, it's not even
me and retread. Yeah, me and retreads don't get along well. Like, you see the UCF jersey in the back. That's exactly how I feel about Scott Frost right now at UCF. Who's the second time with someone, or running it back with someone, I'm always a little weird about that. Like, I was the same way with Tom Coughlin coming back as the EVP.
He came back. I didn't even know he came back.
All right, listen. I'm already afraid of being numero uno notorious with the black and gold banneret, because I'm not at all optimistic myself. But can we please keep that hate to one podcast with my coverage of UCF football and basketball?
All right, skipping all the UCF stuff.
Yeah, thank you for setting the table for the plug there from my other show, Jay. It's rare that I have a guest do that for me. But I think what makes it different, Jay, is you mentioned the Urban Meyer and all that, and even I think we would lump in Tim Tebow, I suppose, possibly. But in your defense, it's a negative, but it still caused excitement. But that's what it is. That was so much of a mixed bag. I feel like the Duval, we're all excited about Liam Coen, especially with the way it went down and Tampa fans getting all better. I think all of Duval was excited, not just me, who has to cover the Jags while being a Niners fan, by the way, that the healing can begin with Trent Baalke leaving the building. I think everyone is excited too because of not just Travis Hunter, but the high draft pick just in general. And then when it became Travis Hunter, it only multiplied things. Fellas, the number of articles I wrote on Fans First Sports Network trying to be the optimist, showing there was still possibly a path to Travis Hunter at 5 was silly. But nonetheless, landing that Christmas gift on top of everything else. I made it happen. And I got to get some love to the comments here real quick, dude. First of all, our guy Robert parking in the comments a half hour before showtime again, letting everybody know that he's ready to do the thing.
Shout out to Robert. Hey, shout out to Robert, man. Robert,
yes, Robert tunes in.
Robert, this is some. I think this is some Girl Scout cookie, man. Robert, you already know. Robert's always in our chat. He gonna what you smoking on? What you smoking on, Robert? I know if Robert watching, he's smoking. What you smoking on, Robert?
Hey, listen, I have no problem being part of the chill if that's what's going on. I got no problem with that. He mentions also Travis Hunter being 29% sour grapes to some.
29% sour grapes.
And Robert, rest assured, we'll get to the O-line later. I mean, obviously, we want to see them block for a yard in that short yardage situation.
Yes, Lord.
Cedric brings in an interesting point, as he often does. Every Jags game is going to be watched by the national media now. That's that genre you were talking about. That's the Travis Hunter effect. All the Travis Hunters would have found their prey in the form of watching those games, right? And it's crazy how the Jags are the lead story on ESPN now, and not just because of Nick Wright talking about the prince that was promised. And I have to apologize to Mike for he just happened to come in when I mentioned Tebow. My bad, dog.
And honestly, what Cedric said to me, that's the most important part about Travis Hunter coming here, because it doesn't matter who it is that's on any kind of national broadcast. I'm convinced they look at box score and then either a highlight or a low light. They don't watch Jaguar football, and I don't blame them. There's a lot of games. But LaShawn McCoy. People like that, they don't have no room. I'm like, you have no room to talk about the Jaguars, because he went on there and said, man, Trevor Lawrence, man, he has all the weapons. Who are the weapons? The weapons were
name them.
The weapons were Christian Kirk, who everybody in the world said we overpaid. They said, oh, how could you give Christian Kirk this kind of deal? He had a career year. First year here, career year. Evan Ingram.
Same thing.
These guys
outside of his rookie year,
he can't catch. He's a bust. But all these guys are so bad. All of these guys, fucking Zay Jones, he resurrected guys' careers. He turned guys into actual viable options for maybe other teams moving forward. Which these guys were, a lot of them seemed like they were on outside of Christian Kirk. Most of those guys look like they were on their way out of the league. So you can't tell me this guy has the weapons and then he's just not getting it done. It's like, no, the team's bad. The team's been bad.
But that's the funniest part of the conversation, is the fact that we knew Trevor Lawrence was elevating those dudes' games to a point where you could say that, all right, maybe these guys are above average, blah, blah, blah. And then you realize, wait a minute, now in the next season and the following season, they're using the fact that those guys are quote unquote above average. We all just called bums last year. You're using that fact against him, despite the fact that it's more likely than not that he's the one that's raising their game to the point where you can say they're above average. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can I point something out to you real quick?
Please.
To your retread comment, Travis. Urban Meyer, Laquan Treadwell, Tavon Austin. Like, you know what I'm saying? Carlos Hyde.
Dante Bay Meadows. He had Dante Bay Meadows.
What are we talking about? Like, what are we really talking about here? Which Chris Manhertz and who?
Which is crazy, because you mentioned getting bulky out of here and the 49ers.
Yes.
Like, do you at least give Bulky any kind of credit with anything that has to do with the 49ers, like any success, either his time there or shortly after him leaving?
He is connected to the one good hire loosely. And listen, here's the thing about Littlefinger that I think we've all come to learn, especially with this stint in Jacksonville. I say what I said, Jimbo, deal with it. No. But no, the thing of it is if you are a GM, you should pray for a coach that inspires Ted Lasso. That's all I'm saying, right? Maybe you make some good draft picks. Maybe you manage a roster salaries okay. I'm not here to say that each and every single one of Trent Baalke's picks was bad, but how many guys said no to come coach here? And I'm not even talking about just this latest run. There was a reason, gentlemen, he was this close to making his 6th hire, and part of it was because you hired Tom Sula as a coach. Whatever. So that all being said, I'm making Niner comments here on the Duval dive. I shouldn't do that.
No, I got you.
But do I reference into some of the success? Maybe he's part of the reason that Juszczyk got in the building. Cool. Maybe he's part of the reason that the O-line was what it was at the time. Of course. And you meld that with a Harbaugh in the room? Yes, please. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, if you can't check your ego at the door to Jim Bleeding Harbaugh, I have been in the room at a press conference with Jim Harbaugh. He's not the scary one. Granted, it's because he was sitting next to Nick Saban, but that's a separate conversation. Anybody, and I'll say it again, who inspires the actor to play Ted Lasso to do coaching-ish, you got him fired. Let that sink in, Jay. That's what I'll say in response to your question.
And my biggest thing is
Doug.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Go hop in.
My biggest thing with the Baalke thing is just that I feel like, especially because being a fan of this team, like all those names that we just listed off, and there's a whole bunch more. Before he came in, was actually and got control. Like I give him as much credit as I can as stabilizing a fallen structure, because the Jaguars didn't have no structure. We had no floor. There was nothing. Even right now, the bottom of our roster before this recent draft is at the bottom of our. I think the starters from last year or the second string from last year would have whooped up on our starters from 2020.
2020,
like you know what I'm saying? So, like just the bottom floor of talent, fear, just sheer physicality of this team. Sure. They look like a football team. Every week they go out there, they compete every week. Like we said, everybody talks about the 9 games, 1 possession losses. That's not Jaguar football. If we're talking about the Jags from the past,
yeah,
those 10 games, those 10 games are those 10 games are going to be 2-score games. We get whooped. I go to that stadium between 7 and 8 times every single year for the last 13 years. I've seen Cody Davis at safety. Like it's been bad. And like right now, like Liam Coen, people say, "Oh yeah, he's going to turn it around." But it's like, bro, you got gift wrapped. You got gift wrapped a lot.
I gotta draw a line in the sand here. Either he was good, or he was bad. And I think we often in Duval County, and we walk that line of saying this dude was horrendous as a GM, and then also on the other side of this thing saying, well, no, he's built a good roster. Hey man, which is it? Like this boy, he was terrible at valuating draft picks. He was terrible at valuations as far as free agency is concerned. I'm just keeping it a buck. He was terrible at building a roster with an identity. And you had an average coach, and I think we all can objectively agree that Doug, if nothing else, Peterson was nothing else. He was an average coach. He was going to give you 8 to 10 wins, pretty much guaranteed. Like he was that guy. So the rest of what that didn't become, when that didn't hit 10 wins or didn't hit 9 wins, I'm pointing at Baalke because that's not happening. Like,
trust me, I believe he should. I believe he should have been fired. I'm not somebody that's like, oh man, pounding the table for it. It's just like, but at the same time, it's just like, hey, we have Brian Thomas Jr. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, great talent. I gift him for.
I don't like Doug Peterson. Drafted Brian Thomas Jr. I love the fact that we drafted Brian Thomas Jr. But let's not forget we traded out of a pick earlier that we could have drafted Brian Thomas. If we knew Brian Thomas Jr. was going to be what he was, we would have drafted him then. We wouldn't have traded back. We let other NFL teams also passed on Brian Thomas Jr. to allow Jacksonville to later draft him. If we would have ended up drafting, fill in the blank, not good NFL player at that same spot because Brian Thomas Jr. would have went early.
I have a pushback on that. I don't think you're entirely wrong in what you're saying, because I actually got so mad I hopped off the podcast because he didn't pick Brian Thomas Jr. and I'm just like, we're not getting them. Like I literally threw a tantrum. I hopped off the podcast. I was mad. I stayed up. I still watched the draft. But at the same time, there was a level of educated guessing in there, and I'm sure that they have more intel than we do. But if you looked at some of the teams, you could say, like we say it all the time, they don't need this or they don't need that. And if you can at least eliminate, they don't need a receiver, then you can say, hey, this is a chance worth taking. I think moving back, I think there was only like one team I felt like was going to take a receiver, and they didn't. So I had to look at that.
And we have to also remember that Doug Peterson, we're dealing with two people who are stubborn, like to the nth degree. They will both get fired standing on how they feel and standing on business, how they see it. And the problem, the biggest problem is the coach isn't the one who should be standing on business when your offense was stagnant essentially for a year and a half. And y'all blamed the black guy and got Mike Caldwell out of there, and y'all brought in Ryan Nielsen and said, hey, we're going to run so many exotic coverages that, it's just not even going to, like, people are going to watch the film. They're like, what are they doing? We don't know what they're doing. Yeah, the players,
you don't know what you're doing. It's like, what?
It's like I said, and it's like, hey, the blame pie can be cut a lot of ways. And Balky gets about 40%.
Here's where I'm going to take it. Since we're having this party, first of all, let me tap the sign again and remind everybody of my credentials. That's the real issue I take, okay? You built what you built in San Fran. You came out with Shad Khan on your hip and Doug Peterson on your hip and said we would have more physical play. And now we finally see real change after he's gone. Jay, I cannot rule any of that out. And with all due respect, my friend, when you point out, hey, at least we're not losing by 2 scores, I'm forced to evoke the Chris Rock defense. What you want, a cookie? Like, come on, man. At some point, you guys need to ask for more from your franchise, okay?
That's it.
And trust me, and I do, but what I'm saying is, we've seen.
You're saying he was a bridge GM.
Yes, to me it was just a perfect bridge. It was the perfect bridge because we were floundering after. Yeah, remember, man. After Tom Coughlin gave up, we didn't have anybody. We really didn't have anybody. And Tom Coughlin messed it up. And trust me, Tom Coughlin messed it up in so many ways. But it was also the mid '90s. I don't think Tom Coughlin understood contract. Like he understands football. I don't think and him being a GM was just like, I want to pick my players, but it's like it's more than picking players. Like you got to work the salary cap. He didn't understand that, and then so it bit us. But after he leaves, it's just a trail of just piss poor GMs. Because
he was also a piss poor GM. That's my argument. I'm saying the Jaguars had more resources because of Dave Caldwell's final season, and they led the league as far as salary cap was concerned. So Trent Baalke's misses, and there were a lot of misses, ended up just being less noticeable because he's spending so much more money than everybody else. He has so many more picks than everybody else, and he's just able to kind of make we drafted Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma, and signed Foye Oluokun. 3 linebackers.
What happened?
And we still got questions on 2 of them.
I don't know what happened. What happened with
Chase? That was very interesting. Trust me, I was looking. I was in Vegas. Trust me, I was in Vegas, and I'm in the room. I said, "What the fuck? I said, what are we doing here?"
I'll say this. I'm going to get this in because the general comes in off the top rope to help relieve me. They meant that they were going to sing Olivia Newton-John, "I Want to Get Physical," not what they were doing in the trenches. That's right. Man. A little bit of Olivia Newton-John schmack here on the pod today by way of the general.
Josh Hines-Allen gained 20-something pounds, bro.
What's Ryan
went
Nielsen?
262 to 285. That's wild.
That's right. I think that's Ryan. I feel like that's Ryan Nielsen. That's
because Cisco. With Cisco.
Look, Cisco. I was calling Cisco Fat Boy. I was calling Cisco Fat Boy the first day. I said, I said, what is going? I said, okay. I said, I don't like how that looks.
We thought he was going to play box safety.
Who am I to call a professional athlete fat boy? But I don't watched you play here since you was a rookie.
Wow.
And I know what you look like. And then, like I said, Josh, why are y'all so big? Why is everybody so big?
Yeah.
Yeah. It frustrating to say the least. Just every part of last year.
Yeah. So it's telling too. Cedric mentions in the comments. I won't read the whole comment, but like for all the good, air quotes, that Bulky did, that Trent did in bulk, one would say. I'm dad joking. I'm sorry, but and it's interesting how Jimmy Stones walks in the building, wholesale changes at so many position groups. The O-line might actually be the best O-line in the division because it's in flux, because they're the one team in the division that's addressed it the most. Something I said a couple of weeks back here on the.
No, that's fair.
So, I just think that's that
you might be right on that, bro.
Yeah,
like I can't think of anybody else who either at minimum it doesn't have an equal amount of adjustments, fluctuations, whatever you want to call it, or they're just objectively in the worst spot. Houston's in the worst spot right now as far as their O-line is concerned. Indianapolis, their interior O-line is also very rough. We know Tennessee's just terrible. Like at that point, you're not wrong, man.
They just not taking as many as the Jags. So by default, I still think the Jags are doing better at addressing that.
And like I said, volume is going to help. Volume is going to help because they brought in, like I said, they brought in a lot of guys. We got to see how all the guys they brought in can't play together. So we got to see how that works out and which five go out there. Because
can I say something real quick, bro? Mm-hmm. We never mentioned, and we should clown on this fact, but nobody ever mentions the fact that they brought in Dennis Daly. Like you bring in Dennis Daly for the Tennessee Titans. Like if that's not a camp body, I don't know what is.
I hate calling guys camp bodies because you never know what's gonna happen with guys getting injured. You never know what's gonna these guys you might consider camp bodies might end up being. Yeah. You might have thought she was a camp body, and then all of a sudden that winter come, bro. And now she your main for the
Dennis Daly is that field. We're in trouble.
I'm just saying.
Now his wifey. Hey, you never, like you said, you never know. Hey, because look, he fighting for his life. That's the thing, bro. When they coming in here, camp. Oh, I'm a camp body. I'm fighting for my life. One of us might die out here, and I'm trying to.
I was a walk-on cornerback.
Jimmy Stone,
cornerback at UCF. I was a camp body. I ended up starting the season. Hey, I don't care what you say. I got them boys to pay my scholarship. I got paid to play college football as a camp body. I don't believe in the camp body ideology because you're already talking about the guys that's 1%. So I hear you. I understand. You've seen the man's tape, and you're just like, that ain't it. You're right to say that. But I'm never gonna count a dude out just for that 1% of 1% because you don't know what's gonna happen, bro.
The Kevin Garnett defense, I can't knock it. I will grant it that. For sure. Mike's come in twice. First of all,
Anton Harrison's still a big question.
We're already on record talking about that. Let's say Ton is a question. Bodies have been brought in to challenge him and account for that. So if he doesn't improve this offseason, it'll be a very interesting conversation there. But I don't feel like scrolling to the comment. Mike also mentioned that he would not endure any Devin Lloyd schmack. I think there's a perfect opportunity for you to ask your linebacker questions, Travis, because I know now you're inspired. Just because Jay brought up the questions about Trent, I knew we were going to go over 30 minutes tonight. Now we got a Lloyd comment in the YouTube chat. Here we go. Jimbo, I hope you pop some corn.
Everyone is so all over the place on where Devin Lloyd falls, man. If you are in the fantasy football or the analyst community, you love his PFF stats. You love his analytics on, all these missed tackles and stats and blown coverage stats and everything else. And then when you watch the film, I'm just like, I don't agree. I don't know where that dichotomy comes in, where people just like, you either love him or you hate him, and there's no in between. And that's kind of where I'm like, well, they didn't pick up that fifth-year option. So where are we on this Devin Lloyd situation and the fact that they did also pick up Jack Kaiser, and Foye has a natural out in his contract after this season also. So, what is the future of this Jaguars linebacker crew? How you see it, at least. We'll start with Jay or Jimbo. What's your thoughts? I need to know.
I feel the same way about Devin Lloyd. because it blows my mind. They got him high rated on Madden. They got him high rated PFF. And I'm like, I said, what are y'all? I said, y'all are just basing this off of numbers. Because, like I said, I go to every home game. I'm watching every game. And to me, the thing that I'm excited about with this front office is I feel like, oh, y'all are seeing what we're seeing. Like, we don't care about what this number say. Y'all are seeing what we're seeing. Because if you're going by what the number says, you give him a contract. But you're watching him play, and it's like, well, shit, I might as well have him. I might as well have him playing D end if I'm gonna have him in here for run stop. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. To me, the linebacker play that's my biggest area of concern. A lot of people are concerned about the defensive backs. I'm not concerned about the defensive backs. I think Buster Brown is going to push everybody in that room. So if he doesn't get on the field, whoever is on the field is going to be really, really good. But the linebacker core, like I said, I think Jack Kaiser will be really good too. But I'm hoping that him and Foyer, I hope he finds some kind of space because I like Jack Kaiser. So if Jack Kaiser and Foyer at linebacker, I've seen a lot of Jack Kaiser over the years. I know it's college, but I've seen him. I think he just plays linebacker really well. I think he gets guys lined up okay. Whatever his
you have given me so many nuggets in this conversation. This man just said I'm high on Jack Kaiser. He said we said Montero Brown is going to push this DB crew. He says I'm more worried about the linebacker crew. I'm like, man, okay.
You said that about
people sleep.
I've said that the linebackers are where I'm worried. I've said that. I've said that I think Jack Kaiser's the heir apparent for Foyer, not so much for play because he ain't going to get 100 tackles every year for the past half decade like Foyer perhaps, but he's got that leadership piece. That's what we're hearing about, right? So I think that's definitely where you get the Foyer fit. And listen, I love Foyer. I wish that Father Time was a punk that didn't win any games, but unfortunately Father Time's undefeated. That's the facts of the case, gentlemen.
Okay.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts, sir, of the future of this Jaguars linebacker crew?
Well, starting off with Devin Lloyd, I'm going to say that I don't dislike Devin Lloyd. I like Devin Lloyd as a player, but I am a critic of Devin Lloyd. But I also think that him, like Travis Etienne, are both subjects of bad coaching staffs not utilizing them to their full strengths, too. He has more tackles for loss than Foyer Luakon. First of all, and let me also say, Foyer is the best linebacker out there on this team right now.
Agreed.
But the problem with Devin Lloyd is that he doesn't get enough opportunities to go into the backfield. When he does go into the backfield, he usually makes plays, right? He can get his hands on the ball, but the problem is when he's out in coverage, I think he thinks too much. And sometimes he's either out of position or he looks lost, right? And then it also seems like, and I've been saying this since his rookie year, it seems like because I think he knows he's such an intelligent football player that Foyer really couldn't tell him nothing because that was kind of something that was hinted at that, hey, I'm here to kind of be a mentor to him too. Anything he needs to know, because I believe the original plan was Devin Lloyd was going to take Foyer's spot. And then when they saw that wasn't happening, that's when they're like, well, look, Trent Baalke's like, I don't have no choice. We need to just extend Foyer. And, so
remember they gave him the dot. They gave Devin Lloyd the dot and they took it back.
Yeah. They took it back. Yeah. They took it back. And I think, this actually becomes a deeper conversation if you have me keep talking about the linebacker core. I think now Jack Kaiser is the heir apparent to Foyer for those leadership skills that you just said. And I think that McLeod here, I think he's here to hey, listen, only 53 guys can make the roster. I think he's here to take a guys like Abdullah's spot. Even Miles Cole, like going down, depending on how they're going to use him. But then you throw another wrench in it because you bring in Dennis Gardeck, right? So it's like, okay, you got a lot of the same type of people in the building, and again, only 53 of these guys can make the roster.
Yeah, I'll echo that too, right? Because I was assured, Kyle, but McLeod is going to be an edge rusher. Then they bring in Ogba. Then they bring Smoot back. I tried to tell y'all he's going to be a stand-up linebacker. I thought I knew everything. And then here comes dude from Arizona, Dennis, just doing
He's going to be both. I just think he's going to be both. And I think in every way the Jacksonville Jaguars front office, James Gladstone, Liam Coen, Tony Baselli, have leaned into this whole I need guys that's going to do multiple things conversation. Whether it's Smoot, it has that inside-out versatility, whether it's McLeod, who can be your stack linebacker or who can be an edge, whether you're talking all across that offensive line where nearly every guy they brought in can play multiple positions. You got cornerbacks and safeties who can play inside out. You got Ransall who can play slot corner if you need him to. He can be your box safety or your free safety. I can keep going. All the guys they keep bringing in, it's all about versatility. Like, because they don't want whatever happens in other NFL teams, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when they lose guys and guys go down, for it to have as significant of an impact because you just lost that guy who can only do one thing. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And it speaks to James Gladstone, his introductory transparency. He said from the beginning, he said, "Hey, we're going to bring guys in here and ask them to be nothing but who they are," which. That's exactly what you should be doing. You shouldn't be trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. That's right, and that's what the Jags have done consistently. Said, you know what? Yeah. You're a square peg, but I want you to be a hole. I want you to be a circle. So I'm gonna pound away at all the edges. I'm gonna break you until you're into a circle. Because even think about it. Bro,
that's it. They brought Gabe Davis in. They brought Gabe Davis in, who had at the time, I believe it was a 30% contested catch rate, and was like, "You're gonna be our contested catch receiver." And I'm like, Houseway, that's just bad self scouting. I don't know what y'all looking at there. Like, that's the perfect example.
They were looking because he was the best available free agent.
But look, even going further, even going further back, the whole K'Lavon Chason experiment, this old regime. You watch this person who never put their hand in the ground in college and said, "We're gonna stick him on the edge and put his hand on the ground in college." Anytime y'all had him drop back into coverage, he was covering receivers that was running 4.3s down the field, getting PBUs or getting interceptions in the flat. So you said, you never thought to say, "We're gonna move you to linebacker" when we didn't have good linebackers either there, even then. It's just I've never understood on any team with any coaching staff that says, "We've seen you do this for 80% of what we've seen you do. We want you to go do the 20%, 100% of the time."
Interesting. Well, is that? Well, you just made me think of something. I gotta ask the question: is that not the exact argument you would make against drafting Trevon Walker, though? We didn't see him pass rush in college. We saw him box rush. That was it. They just played like all those Georgia's edges.
I mean,
you drafted him to do something that he wasn't doing.
I'm somebody who said that I would really like to see if Trevon, because if he doesn't develop a better pass rush moves, I would rather see him inside anyway. Because of his frame, he can put on size, I think, a little more size and terrorize from the inside. Anytime he kicks inside,
dominate guards.
He's dominating guards and centers. So I think the versatility, but when he got here, they were like, okay, that length is actually a lot better than we thought it is. His reach is a lot better. And I mean, he's coming off a back-to-back.
Right. I'm not downing the pick. I'm just talking about the philosophy.
Yeah, but I think they saw something on tape. I think they saw I think you playing 3 years at least in college. I think they saw enough tape of him rushing outside to say he could be a pass rusher. I don't know what the percentages of the snaps are, but I know he played a lot. I know he played the majority inside, but it's different when, like I said, even with certain guys. Like that's why I mentioned Chason, because he never had his hand in the dirt at LSU. Okay. He was an outside linebacker in the 3-4 who was never on the line. We were running a 4-3. We get rid of him, and then that's when we switched to a 3-4. I mean, I'm not saying I wanted him to be on the team anymore, but it's like that was the defense he was suited for. You picked a 3-4 end and say and put him in a 4-3. It's just what stuff like that just to me doesn't work. it probably would never work.
The whole identity conversation that we consistently had in Jacksonville basically since 2017. Yeah. You have no consistent identity. I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then speaking of Chase on, and then look what he does at Las Vegas with the Raiders, right?
Yeah,
comes in and he's done more. He did more in 6 games there than he did in a 5-year career. Because I think didn't they pick up his 5th year? They may. I hope they didn't.
I don't know.
Yeah, because he was first round. Second.
I hope they didn't. No, he was first round because
he was first round. Yeah, too.
But that kind of makes me go back to the bad coaching. Like basically what he's saying is putting the player in a position where they can actually be good, right?
Yeah. And like I said, that's what Gladstone saying.
Yeah, but counter to that, he did get some of those sacks with his hand in the dirt. So. But hey, maybe you learn something along the way.
Yeah, well, I'm about to say you spent 5 years rushing the passer. If you better pick something. If you're still in the league, you gotta learn something.
Right. No facts.
If you don't mind, I have my last. I want to circle back to my last Travis Hunter question. If you don't mind, I know we started with Travis Hunter. I wanted to see if we can circle back to it. Is he the most important Jaguar since Fred Taylor? Right now, you haven't seen him on the field.
No,
you can't say it right now. I was
about to say I don't think you can say it yet.
Yeah,
because when we drafted, I was a kid when we drafted Fred, so I don't know what the hype. Like I was a Gator fan too, so I was excited, but I don't know. It's kind of tough because that's electric, but potential, yes, has all the potential. Has all the potential. He has right now. He has the highest potential of a Jaguar draft pick since Justin Blackman.
I'll say this, and that's very I'm not even mad at the Blackman. That's a good try. Here's the issue. He's not even the most important one in this offseason. The reason why I say that is if Sunshine doesn't remain upright.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
If this new O-line doesn't do their damn job, Travis Hunter is essentially rendered useless. Oh, sure.
Right.
He's still going to be fun to watch. He'll still sell them tickets. And when the Jags inevitably go to London again, which, by the way, I'm in favor of regardless of what happens. Heck, I'm going to enjoy it when they're playing here in Orlando for a bit, allegedly, right? But they're going to watch a lot, but if you want dubs, it ain't going to land if Trevor misses a bunch of games again.
I can agree with that. It's just the fact that you can't name an individual offensive lineman, like just one person. We're just talking person to person. I can't name an individual offensive lineman where I'm like, that's the guy, that's the game changer, that's the number changer.
I can count. I agree because I could counter that Trevor may be the most important player on offense because regardless of the O-line, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter because the people already have in their head what they think about you right now anyway. So I think now Travis Hunter is going to be a really good piece in. I think getting the ball out quick. Travis Hunter is the best with the ball in his hand. If we can't hit it down the field, now we have somebody in short intermediate routes that can just cook up on anything out there.
Right. Having a quarterback that led the league or was top 2 in the league in explosive plays 20+ yards down the field, and then having another receiver on the other side of him who's going to be a yak monster who can get the ball quickly, that changes the math a little bit.
That's the point I was going to make too. Without Brian Thomas Jr., how much impact can Travis Hunter have on the offensive side? Still some, but ain't no way it's as much, right?
Yeah, but at the same time,
even more when you add in Diami, though.
Diami Brown, that's my fly zone.
But here's the thing: what he just said about those short passes, you can do it with all 3 of them. They're interchangeable. What we were just talking about, the interchanging, the guys that can do it all. These guys can do it all. Hey, you need people to stretch the field. They can all do that. You need people to do an end around. They can all do that too. And they do it well and they do it efficiently. It's almost like a pick your poison. And if Diami can be who James Gladstone believes he could be, because he's the one that pounded the table to get him here, right? So if he can be that guy, that explosive guy that we kind of saw at the end of Washington season. I watched a lot of Washington. I am a Daniels fan.
Yes.
Jay Daniels. Yeah,
Okay.
I am.
Yes.
We got the same initials, JD. So it's that's my dog.
That's all it took. That was it.
He played week 1 here in Orlando against FSU, and that was fun to watch.
That was a good game. That was a good game.
I really like Jay. Like I said, by like game 6, like I know we're not gonna go Jay, but I was like, bro, he still looks poised. And like to me, that's the opposite of like how I think it's gonna look for Cam Ward, because I watched a few of those. I watched a few Miami games, and their offensive line looked phenomenal. I don't know the numbers.
Yeah, one of the best offensive lines in the nation.
And so people were like, oh man, y'all dominated they dominated again. I said, bro, the Gators were coming off of being, I think, like the 75th defense in the nation the year before, giving up 35 points a game. I said we didn't even touch them. I said we didn't even touch them. What
defense did? They didn't play any good defenses. Let's just be real. They didn't play any good defenses, but their offensive line was phenomenal.
Cal was a good defense, and that was a dogfight. They had to come all the way back. But I'm just saying, you're not going to.
That was like 40-something points apiece, though. How good is your defense if you're putting up 40-something points?
Man.
Even Miami fans say they got no defense.
All that sitting in the pocket and just without a care, it's over. Cool. It's over.
I made that point myself, Jay.
Especially with the Titans' offensive line. Like Jaden Daniels went into a situation where they already kind of had stuff already put in place. They were just waiting for the quarterback.
And they kept him on the move. That's the smartest thing they would have done. They kept him on the move, just like they did with Kyler Murray, to make sure they can keep moving the pocket, to use his athleticism to take away the pressure on that offensive line. And that was smart also. But that may not work in his sophomore year. We're going to see how that goes when teams know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's, by the way, that's not just the Cam Ward phenomenon. I've said this too, even regarding one Lamar Demetrius Jackson, except it worked the opposite way, right? He was in bowl games playing teams like LSU, who had tons of NFLers up front, and that Louisville offensive line. Never again in the NFL would he see a gap that big where his O-line was going to get that dominated the way it would by an SEC front. And then, by the way, happens to get drafted by the Ravens, who have Marshall Yanda and I think that's the back end of Michael Orr's career, even like all of that going on in front of him. That's and then a star was born. It can work both ways. Mario Cristobal, coaching in Miami, had that quarterback taken care of. And no, I'm not just saying that because I'm still bitter. Matt Lee transferred from UCF to Miami. I'm just saying. Who else talks O-line schmack here on this show? That's all I'm saying. No, but I think that's a great point you make about Cam Ward, and I want to make this one point too about Travis Hunter still being an important player. BTJ being a single threat receiver is one thing. De'Ami Brown's a good addition, I'll grant you, but Travis Hunter is what's going to keep it where teams can no longer stuff the box in the run. That running back core is poised for balance and awesomeness. And if Travis Etienne doesn't do the job, I'm fairly certain Bashaw Tutin's going to come in and do it.
We had this conversation. I might be higher on Tank than I am on Tutin at this current moment in time. I need to see it. Like I need to see
you
it.
Waited until we had company in the room to start this fight. That's what you did. You started.
Tutin is RB4. Tutin is RB4 right now.
What he just said. I'm not saying it. I'm not objectively saying he's RB4, but I say with the rookie, you're going to have to show me that he first learned the offense. He's going to have to show me that he's getting these snaps with the top guys before I come out here with these hot takes saying this is the guy just because he was drafted higher. So I've seen LaQuint Allen get those snaps early.
He's getting the burn. He's getting the burn right now.
Who's on record saying LaQuint Allen is his favorite draft pick?
All right, that's fair.
Okay,
but I'm just saying. I'm just saying if you're talking Tank versus Tootin, I'm probably going Tank.
Because,
okay, no,
because you gotta because Tootin got to show me that he can run between the tackles in the NFL. Because that was the weird thing. That was another weird thing about the offense last year. Because pretty much all the carries that were between the tackles were for Tank. Outside the tackles, ETN. I think Tank is just as fast, if not faster, than ETN. He's stronger. I think he has better ball vision. Trevor, I do like ETN as a player. I just think Tank is a more complete. I just think he's a more complete. I just think he's a more complete back. I think ETN will be better as like spelling carries and trying to get in some slot. Like
it's a very tight argument. You have a very tight argument there. So if you're saying that Tank Bigsby may be a more complete back than Travis Etienne, I would at least hear the argument.
Said on this show, by the way, Travis.
Right. I can hear that argument because Tank is probably a better runner, just pure running back. Just talking that. If you're talking pass protection, they're both bad. I don't think there is no winner here. Everybody loses. Yeah, like the pass protection is just not good. Either one of those guys.
ETN gets people hurt. He gets folded. Have you seen? I've watched him get folded. I said, "Man, you wasn't even a speed bump." Trevor got hurt.
That was last year. Don't do that, bro. They both got.
How you got hurt and you got the quarterback hurt on the same play?
Tank wins running the ball. ETN wins as a pass catcher out of the backfield.
Yeah, right.
And as far as pass protection is concerned, it's a wash at that point. It's the Quinn Allen time. So in that way, I'm going to be like, all right, I can see Tank having that edge because you're drafting a guy. I mean, it's running back. The main road and running back is run. So the better runner is probably going to take the edge.
But I think he has the frame to get better at pass protection. I don't think there's anything ETNs could do to get better at pass protection.
That's a strong take, Jay. I'll give you that.
But here's the thing.
It's Tank.
You got to think about.
We talked about the coaching staff. Not being good. We have trust me. It wasn't. They weren't just picking and choosing on where they were being inept at. They were inept all across the board.
Yeah, so this is what you're not thinking about, though.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Y'all open the show with the pass. Then your opening clip is the pass. Is the running back's pass protection drill with their arms behind their backs?
Yep.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's
sneaky new opening too.
They're working on.
Yes, sneaky new opening. I like it. But this is what's not being considered though in Liam Cohen's offense. This is what I believe. You know, you could say Tank's 1, ETN's 2. I just think they're RB 1 and 2. Because we're going to be seeing them on the field together a lot. Like that's gonna be this offense. You're gonna see that.
So a lot of people have been saying this, and I've had this conversation with a few of my guys in Tampa, and that wasn't the original plan for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2024.
Until somebody got hurt.
Like because that's a lot of people are leaning on it. It's when everybody got hurt after that bye week. That's when they introduced it on a heavy level. Originally, they were just sprinkling it into their offense.
Until somebody gets hurt or until somebody starts fumbling the ball again, which again brings me back to Tank Bigsby.
Well, I mean, but again, they led the league in those 2 running back sets because they just found out that they did it out of necessity. They didn't have a choice. Like, it's not to say that Liam Coen won't lean back into it, but I just want to be very clear in saying it may not look like it looked in Tampa in that way because you may not have the situation that Tampa Bay had, if that makes sense.
Yeah, look what happened to Doug Peterson in Philadelphia. He ain't never run that offense. But when they
the 2 tight end sets.
They tried to run that Carson Wentz offense with Nick Foles, and they was losing games going into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's because he didn't have 3 Hall of Fame caliber offensive linemen on his squad anymore.
And so he said, we're gonna throw the playbook out. We're gonna play simple backyard football, and you went and won a Super Bowl. And then you said, all right, we're healthy again. Let me not take none of that and introduce it into my original game plan. No, I'm gonna go back to what I was doing. And then I went 9-8, 4 wins, and then I got fired. And it did the same thing here. That's crazy. 9-8, 9-4. That's
well,
crazy.
I will
right?
give Doug, I got to give Doug a small pass on that getting fired part though. That when Doug got fired, I believe it was that 2020 COVID season, right? And they had like a league leading 18 offensive line combinations because they had so many injuries.
Yeah.
So I thought when Doug got here that they weren't going to fall into that same trap and they were going to bolster the offensive line, and it just never materialized, which points back to your general manager again. That's where I'm saying that was a different conversation. I only gave him a pass because of that. Like, just
We'll transition to this because when the general comes off the top rope and asks me about offensive line, you'll pardon my bias, Travis.
Oh man,
panel Walker Little. How much action do you see him playing this year?
Starting left tackle.
No I don't want him starting.
Okay.
You don't want him starting?
There's always one in every crowd.
we talked about like how what the numbers say and what when I'm watching them.
Okay.
I don't see it. And like I said, I don't see it. Like I think he's okay and run, but the offensive line has been bad. It's been collectively bad. And so I don't. If you're not good in pass protection, to me when I'm watching you, I just watch him get beat. I'll be seeing him on the ground. Like it's just, I gotta see.
He's not your cup of. He's not your cup of tea.
Yeah. My thing is, for me, anybody on the offensive line can get it because whatever's been going on, y'all can't keep the quarterback upright. So for me, it's smoke for everybody on that side of the ball. Like I just want to see who can get out there and do it. I want to see the best five. I don't care who the best individual lineman is. Oh, you were the starter last year. That's fine. But if you don't communicate well with your guard and whatever's going on, and people quarterback can't get hurt. That's at the end of the day, he cannot get hurt.
Jay, there's only one way I would alter your take. Only one way. You said there's smoke. Bro, 60% of the position group is turnover. There's fire. There's a straight-on fire drill on that line. They changed it all, so they agree with you. They do. And remember, they have to hold on to Walker Little because Bulky extended him. Now, I like Walker Little as a player. My move would be to have him compete both at guard and tackle because he's a versatile guy. You could plug him in anywhere. A utility guy is worth paying a little bit more for. I don't know that I would have extended him like that, but that's a separate conversation. Hey, listen, if I could do it all over again, I would not, and I'm already on record saying this, back me on this, Travis, I would have never extended Cam Robinson in the first place, and we would have been looking at Walker Little then and having already made a decision by this point were it me running things, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, do you believe like so? I'm always of the opinion that I have to look based on evidence that I've seen on the field. That's all I have to go on. And Walker Little has played well on occasion. He's had a lot of up and down, and he's also been kind of jerked around in the process to actually like develop him as far as that piece is concerned from the previous coaching staff. So I'm here for that. But also, if I'm looking at this coaching staff and I'm looking at this general manager and I'm looking at this coach in the way that they've used guys in the past, Walker Little feels a lot like Jonah Jackson for the Rams. And a lot of people don't know. The Rams, they brought in Jonah Jackson as a free agent guard, and they said, all right, we want you to be our starter. He was playing for the Detroit Lions, and then he ends up getting hurt. He ends up getting beat out in camp, and he's this high-priced free agent guard who never plays for them. That feels like the whole Walker Little situation where I say, hey, I don't care that he just got extended by the past GM. I didn't sign that guy. If he gets beat out, he gets beat out. So I do feel like, to your point, Jay, this might be hey, man, best man wins, and I just want to see the best five. I don't care how much money you make. If you are the second best guy, you're going to be an expensive doorstop behind this other guy. That's what's going to happen.
Not just smoke.
Okay with that.
There's fire. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, but in this other perspective, that if you, and I'm actually speaking for the whole left side of the line because I feel like Ezra Cleveland is in there. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody said, and I don't really mean to go back to the whole Anton question, but I said this back in May that if any position is up for grab, it's that right tackle position.
Travis
I think
is on
that
too.
I felt like Chuma or even Macari.
I think Macari is the guy on the right.
Yeah. I think either one of them could get. See, I think if you're talking about pushing Walker Little, that's Fred Johnson pushing Walker.
Okay.
But on Anton's side, it's Macari and Chuma, and I believe if Macari can push him out at right tackle, that's how you get Wyatt Milam on the field. You get me? So I think if I'm going to say any piece that I'm most confident is going to stay, I'm going to say Ezra. Yes, it's a possibility that Walker Little can get transposed at his position, but at the same time, like he wasn't the best, but he wasn't the worst. I felt like he played consistently once he got in. I could probably only count one game I could say he played bad in at left tackle as the starter.
Okay.
I can't front on any of that. And by the way, gentlemen, to add to this being an exciting offseason, when's the last time you felt comfortable about depth in the interior line like this? I'm not saying it's great. We don't know yet. But boy, howdy, it was better than golly jeepers. I hope Foye was just the problem the whole time. So, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, and I'm just going through here. The comments lit up again. They like you boys in teal. That's what I'm saying.
They do.
Am I doing things here on the Duval Dive tonight?
We keep it real. We keep it teal.
Let's go. I had to give you a bell for that, Jim.
Appreciate it.
So, Travis, I know you said you had a list of questions. Did you make it through them?
Oh no, I've pigeonholed them into our regular conversations, and we've been moving along, bro. I think we're in a good spot here. I enjoy Mike Patton thinks he believes that Walker Little is a swing tackle at best until he can prove him wrong this season, and I'm like, wow, all right.
Like he hates him more than he hates Trevor Lawrence. Hey. My bad.
The AFC South, Mike Patton. It's fine. He hates Trevor Lawrence like I hated Will Levis. It's fine, and we've had that argument.
It's listen, boy. Well, that's.
So I love Will Levis. You keep throwing them ducks up, man.
We were having this argument. We were having an argument before this past season. So like I was telling him, like, hey man, I don't know what y'all seeing.
This is why you need to follow me and Travis on Twitter.
Going back.
That exchange is fun with us in the general. I mean, it's all love, but the lightsaber duel continues, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to participate in it. I hope it's that fun to watch. I
am not a guy. I can't be the best scout in the NFL because I don't believe in potential. I don't believe in that word. I hate it with a passion. I'm a guy that said you got to show me on tape a guy doing the thing that you say they're gonna do, and then I'm all in on him doing that thing. Fine, but that whole potential thing, whatever. Potential means nothing. It's an empty word that says a guy can be great. Yeah, so can this guy that's terrible. This guy that's already good. Like I don't know, man. At the end of the day, show me the guy who can do it more often than not, and I think I'll beat your team full of guys with potential. That's how I feel about it.
Does anybody know if Wyatt Mullen drives a pickup truck?
If he does, he's our starting right guard. I don't know nothing else. I ain't got nothing else about him.
Because that's what's been lacking. I've been saying it on our podcast for years. We don't. When I go to these training camps, when you walk through, when they got all the player parking, you get to see it. You get to see what they're driving. I have yet to see it.
Hold on, bro. Juneteenth Eve. I just want to.
I know, bro, and
remind you of that.
And I stand.
I know this take.
Black people have fun with pickup trucks too. It's okay.
Yeah.
No.
Oh no, not these pickup trucks.
Oh God. Yeah, then please save us from that.
I have yet to see a dirty 4x4 in that parking lot. I have yet to see. I don't know. I'm from a time where it's supposed to be at least one Confederate flag on somebody's truck.
which is
that front plate,
which is settled for a NASCAR bumper sticker.
Yeah,
that actually works. That works. If you show me a picture of you and your family on the at the inside field at the Brooklyn 500, we got our guy. We got him.
Yeah,
let's go, ladies.
Because my thing is, and sometimes it's man. I don't care. In my brain, it may be sick. Whatever gets it done, get it done. I need you. Whatever gets it done in your brain, you don't have to vocalize anything. But whatever gets it done in your head, get it done.
Well, protect the quarterback. There are certain teams that's whether it's Nebraska, whether it's Iowa, the cornbread.
That's what we're talking
the guys
about.
From the farm, and they just got that moving folks.
We've strayed away from middle America, from our offensive line for so long, and it shows. We drafted a tackle out of Texas A&M.
Is this not the argument
that we had? Quarterback.
Is this not the argument you and I had on the opening offensive line episode of this Duval dive this offseason when I said I prefer guys who can move people, and you were like, well, it's fine if you have a guy who's a
You're
shielder.
changing the frame of the argument. It is the center, not the entire O-line. This was specific for the center.
You're right.
Position. Hold on.
I said at center. Yeah. I need the guy in the middle to be a guy who's a road grader, basically.
Let's remember who Kyle wanted in all three of the Duval dive mock drafts was Membu. Okay, don't tell me I don't like a Mauler now, Hummer.
All right, I agree. Well, then the Jacksonville Jaguars now have three guys who are not that
at center.
They have all three guys who are just shielders, who are guys who can just turn a guy, and that's basically how they're going to get their whole.
They're more designed
which means those guards. Those guards got to be the ones in there banging around and really getting to it.
Bingo. Correct. The guards are the ones who are going to get you those vertical holes because the center ain't going to be the one to do it.
They're going to be the ones that turn a run that completes on the inside into a home run. Now, that being said, and here's where Travis is crystal clear correct, that wouldn't be my focus on a team that's been so terrible at third and short. That being said, they're also relying on Travis Hunter pulling the box back so you're not facing anything more than 7 at that point. So it could be something that's a wash, and it's going to be fascinating to see. I'll grant it at that. I mean, listen, we have Olivia Newton-John Schmack. We have Juneteenth Eve Schmack. I don't know a higher note to close this beast out on. We got comments galore. We're over an hour in. We got families to get back to. So, Men in Teal.
The finals is on.
Tonight. The finals be on. Yeah, I got to check out some basketball, right? Listen, guys, a great time all the way around. You accomplished the mission tonight, Men in Teal. Jimbo, let me start with you. Tell the world where you could be found, my friend.
We can be found on Facebook, on X, Men In Teal Podcast. I'm sorry, on X is Men In Teal Pod, YouTube Men In Teal Podcast. And that's for both of us, man. We're happy to be here. It's been a long time coming. I'm glad we was able to put it together. It was fun. Well, we got to do it the other way.
Hey, no doubt. We're
got to do it the other way.
Come on.
You know,
like you already know. I'm always in y'all chat. Just
Travis is a pod
whatever. Come on.
And Jay, I know that Jimbo said it for you both, but you got anything you want to close with here before we wrap up?
Nah, man. I think we covered a lot, man. You know, hey, this is how we pod, man. We just shooting it, man, and live and always live. That's the thing. We always from day one when during COVID, live from then we just like, hey, just let it go, man.
Yeah, if you are listening right now, man, please go to the Men in Teal Podcast, like and subscribe on YouTube, rate and review them wherever you catch your podcast. Like, come on, man, support. It's all Duval, it's all love. Like, we all together because at the end of the day, it's Duval versus all y'all. So it's all us, all them.
Yeah, they're not going to cover it. They're not going to cover us like how we can cover us. They don't care about us. We down here over in the corner, and they just, like I said, they don't watch us. They don't watch, but they, like I said, they got to watch now. They got to watch. Everybody says they love Travis Hunter. So are you going to do him the disservice and not watch his team play, like actually watch the games? And then we can see what's going on. And then everybody can have an actually informed opinion, like same way y'all covered the damn Cowboys. Like y'all don't want to watch the Cowboys. I'm not trying to watch the Cowboys, but y'all beat the Cowboys into everybany. Nobody cares about the Cowboys.
Emmanuel Ocho, Agent J's coming after you, my guy. Oh,
man, him and LaShawn McCoy. It's up. They are definitely.
Hey. Juneteenth Eve. We in front of company right now. We gotta calm down.
I'm gonna spare him.
We want to turn this into a what happened was. That's what we're trying to do. Travis D Holmes, tell the world, my friend.
Hey man, Travis D Holmes on all the socials, Blue Sky, X, Twitter. If your mama's on it, I'm probably on it too. Don't just BigCatCountry.com. Save it as your favorite. Say we just had the Jacksonville Jaguars. The NFL announcing the Jacksonville Jaguars training camp dates. That dropped on Big Cat Country this afternoon. So we got the dates for the training camp. We have the dates for the first day of the joint practices with the Miami Dolphins for preseason week 3 for that final preseason game. So again, please go click on the article, check it out. Even if you don't like to read, even if you're illiterate, man, click that link. Help a brother out. Where can you be found, sir?
Hey, by the way, if you do happen to be illiterate, he's asking you to click the thumbs up. Okay, just so we're clear.
Let's go.
Listen, I know it's Juneteenth Eve, but you guys are proud to tell everybody you're on X. I can't do that. I'm a family man. I'm on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG as well. Kyle Nash, the student of the game, as well on Facebook. Check out my writings with the Fans First Sports Network covering your Jacksonville Jaguars, as well as the Orlando Magic. Desmond Bain is in the building. That should be very interesting. Maybe Desmond will be the bane of the Magic shooting woes. Boom! Full dad joke. Then, of course, the Black and Gold Banneret, where I cover UCF football and basketball and some things in between. Check out the blackandgoldbanneret.com, as well as the Night Shift podcast and YouTube channel, of course, as we do our thing here on the Believe Network. Make sure you like and subscribe to not only the Men in Teal's action as well, but the Duval Dive. And honor, joy, and privilege, Jimbo, Agent J, the Men in Teal, of course, my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, and you commenters coming in hot tonight.
Yes,
gracious. What a thing to celebrate. And by the way, I hope a lot of you were fortunate enough to not have work tomorrow like some do. There you go. So with all that in mind, until next time, everyone, class
I am off.
dismissed.